Now you can start commentary for this
Uh,
World
as I Australia won the toss and decided to bat first against Sri Lanka. Continue on the toss. Yeah, Australia won the toss and chose to bat. Yeah, that's how. There is so much of moist and gloomy overcast. So that's why they are going to rights. So that means Dakota and Lewis always affected against the Sri Lankan. So at the very first start, after 4 overs, Australia were only 10 or 11 runs for no loss, and then they start to score runs against Chamindavas and Dillar Fernando as the opening bowlers.
Cup.
So in that time, held on. In that time, Adam Gilchrist means a symbol of cricket. He was the very first wicketkeeper batsman. Before his debut, that means before his make of international cricket, there was only wicket keepers. There was no wicket keeper batsman. So Gilchrist was the very first one to be ranked one on both Test and ODIs. As a wicket keeper, as a batsman, he was the symbolic one. So he at that time Gilchrist was we have witnessed that very bad experience in back-to-back World Cup finals. MS Dhoni and Adam Gilchrist was the uh, un, unformed players on their side. So Gilchrist was not in really hungry of runs and as well in 2011. MS Dhoni was not in. Would you imagine that 23 or 24 years old Lasith Malinga got hammered by Gilchrist as a Gilchrist on almost 36 or 37 in that time. So Lasith Malinga was at his peak. So that's the dismissal of Matthew Hayden. He was the highest run skater for in the tournament for Australia as well. So that combination of Gilchrist and Hayden was did that against us as like a Halloween for Sri Lankan in Sri Lankan hand. So after the departure of Hayden, Pontin joined with the Gilchrist, and Gilchrist scored 149 with a Scotch ball in a glove. That was one of the hottest topics in that time, but there is no that rule wasn't broken by the Gilchrist stand, so that's why ICC allowed to play any player if want to play it, with a sponge ball, they request to play in a manner. So by the way, after the departure of the Gilchrist, Pontin started to play against the Sri Lankans. In that time, as we know, in 2006, they scored 430 against South Africa. So that mentality always going on favor with the Australian lineup. So Michael Hussey, Michael Clark, those middle order was the one of the best ever middle orders to have in a limited over game, and they managed to score, as I think, 282 or something like that in their 40 or 42 overs innings. So, yeah, 241 in 38 overs. Yeah. So that was one of the huge target. But in the very first ball, Tarangi scored the boundary against Nathan Bracken. In that time, Nathan Bracken was the world #1 fast bowler as a left-arm seamer. But this is Bracken, and Bracken got the full Tarangi, and we believe that we can't do anything against that Australian lineup. But that track was really flat wicket. So when Kumar Sangakkara and Sanath Jayasuriya. Once I noted that Murli said if there is no rain at the evening that Windies island, so there is no Australian to stop Sanath Jayasuriya at that moment. That time, Jayasuriya is middling the ball really well. That stroke against Glenn Magda by Kumar Sangakkara. Sangha scored more than 17 runs against Glenn Magda in that over. That means he scored 17 runs against Glenn Magda, means in these days like 32 runs in over. That means to get 70 runs against McGrath, every team used more than 4 or 5 overs, and Sangha scored 17 runs within 1 over. So, as Murli said, we all believe that if there is no rain interruption, there should be a favorable thing for Sri Lanka in that final. After that, we can see that video evidence of they are playing with some drizzle. Yeah, that's the mistake of Sangakkara made against Michael Clark or a part-time bowler or Hasigo, something like that. Jayasuriya came down the track against the Michael Clark and bowl get lower in his against his favor. That's how he got bowled. So after that departure of the Sanath Jayasuriya, that there is a very short type of highlights. We can see that lack of bounce in the ground. So that's the LBW of Mile Javardhan against Shane Watson. So that's the thing. We can see after Sri Lanka got that number of 200 runs, so we can see how gloomy was there. Actually, no one can. The videography team is really got to struggle to capture the live actions. That type of lack of lights in the ground at that time. After that, the innings of 33rd over or 32nd over. There is no floodlights in the ground, and really that run out of Dilshan and that the bolt of Chamara Silva. That's really unfair to have a World Cup final like that. That means all the teams were waiting more than 4 years to play a World Cup, and when they into that magnificent final moments, so there should be a fair enough game to play. That means 50 over World Cup means they should play a 50 over 100 over games for the championship title. So that's not fair. The ICC decided the actual ICC the Australian jersey was changed to yellow to orange. So actually ICC apologized to the both two parties. That means the ceremony was just after the match. That means all the atmosphere was changed in a certain moment. So I don't think if we played the 100 overs game, if we were able to beat Australia in that time, that means Australia that Australian dignity was that was their end power in that time 2007. I don't believe there is only one way to do that. Sanath Jayasuriya want to score one of the that means 130 to 150 by Jayasuriya himself. The only thing we can survive in that final, but very unfortunately with that luck bounce, Jayasuriya got out, and so I still believe that if we want to, if we went back to 2 years, two decades backward, in any scenario, if we played against Australia, Jayasuriya is the only guy we had in our armory against Australia. That means they scored runs again. Muralidharan really well. They got some type of struggles against Lasith Malinga, but Chamindavas, Kumar Sangha was far better. But Mayala, Taranga, Mavan, those names are be minions against Australia. But in the cricketing world, they are one of the strongest personalities. But against that Australian side, the Sanath Jayasuriya was the man to have in our lineup.
Wow, what a explanation, what a commentary. Brilliant, right?